let's welcome in many people's eyes, the pound-for-pound king, the man who will be defending his title at UFC 197 April 23rd in Las Vegas, Nevada. Our old pal, Mighty Mouse, Demetrious Johnson. Demetrious, how are you?
What's going on, Ariel? How you doing, brother?
Great to talk to you, Demetrious. You know, it has been a while, believe it or not. I don't know if you know this, since you've been on the show. Almost like 3/4 of a year. The last time you were on, man, you ruffled feathers, huh? You threw out that $2 million remark, and that thing had legs for days. It was unbelievable. You got any more grenades that you want to launch today?
I believe the reason why it's been so long since your show is because you lost my phone number. So shame on you.
No, now you give the exclusives to your boys over at Twitch, to your fans over there. What are we at now as far as followers there now?
I think we just hit 36,000 followers. So shout out to the Twitch family, Twitch squad, Mighty Squad. Yeah, we're building a nice community over there. We talk about all types of stuff, video games, MMA, all types of shit.
What does Rampage have?
Rampage, I think he's at like 46,000.
Oh, we got to beat him.
I'm not sure.
We got to beat him.
We're working on it, baby.
Okay.
We're working on it. It's a healthy competition.
Okay, good. We definitely have to beat him. When you found out that you were the co-main event to this, on this great card, to this main event of Jon Jones versus Daniel Cormier, and that you wouldn't have, to answer for, the promotion, all that stuff, you could just be co-pilot and ride that train along and have a lot of fun with it, because a lot of the attention was going to be on them. Was this the perfect scenario for you? Did you love this idea that was thrown out initially?
Yeah, I was ecstatic, man. That was, the whole entire time, leading up to after my last fight with John Dodson, I was like, dude, let me play matchmaker. Let me make your guys' card. I was like, put me in the co-main event, of Weidman or Luke Rockhold. Okay, well, let me do co-main event of Verdum and Cain Velasquez, and I even pitched him. I was like, you guys can have 2 Latino champions that night if you guys make that card happen. But yeah, I'm very excited to be behind Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier, because they're going to bring the eyes. There's bad blood between those two, and I think it's the right platform to get the flyweight division a little more eyes.
Yeah, this is the perfect scenario in my opinion. Cejudo, obviously, we know about his background. Gold medalist in the Olympics, undefeated, has had a nice run in the UFC thus far. But honestly, do you think that this, if you can be objective here, do you think this is coming a little too soon for him? Do you feel like this is too big of a jump in competition, and he's kind of a product of, you just blowing through the competition at 125 and there not being any other credible opponents and contenders out there?
No, not at all. I mean, I believe you're in a UFC. There's no protecting people, or no, I don't want that person to fight him because it's a bad matchup, I think that's back in your amateur days when you're trying to build your skill set and all that stuff. You're at the big leagues now, so you fight everybody. Ever since right when I jumped into WEC, they offered, us Brad Pickett, and, Sean Silva was like, that's a pretty tough fight. Man, I goes, I don't give a damn. We'll take him. And I went out there and I fought my ass off. People are like, oh, man, that fight might have been too soon for you. You probably need a little more development. No, it was a perfect fight. Look where I've become to now, and I think it's good that everybody just fights. Don't try to pick and choose your opponents. UFC calls when you fight. Sounds good. So I think, Henry Cejudo, he has great accolades. A gold medalist in Olympic wrestling, and he's undefeated in mixed martial arts. 4-0 in UFC. Let's see what he's got. I'm excited to test myself against him, and we're gonna find out.
He said at that Unstoppable press conference a few weeks back that he sincerely believes that the UFC wants him to win this fight, to get rid of you. What's your response to that?
Okay.
Do you think he's just trying to get under your skin?
I guess you could say that. I mean, like I said, I've had people call me boring. My favorite line was somebody called me was John Rogan. He goes, Johnson's so boring, I can sit there and watch his fight, get up and go make a sandwich, come back, and he's still doing the same shit. Then when I unbarred him, I was like, yeah, that sandwich must taste good, didn't it? So for me, people say all types of stuff, man, but it's all fun and games outside of the cage. But when you get in there with me, you realize how fast I am. You realize how good my transitions are. You realize how good my clinch game is, how good my kickboxing, my wrestling game is. And then, after we're done fighting, they ain't got shit to say.
I love the stare down. We're watching it now that you guys had a couple of weeks ago in Vegas. You yawning afterwards. It was great. What did you say to him? You did sort of the air quote thing. What did you guys say to each other?
he said no excuses, and I was like, dude, the only person who makes excuses is you about tacos, bro. You mean remember that taco you had in Mexico? Yeah. So that's the thing, man. Like I'm all about just going out there and let my skill set do the talking. And I've never made an excuse in my life. I fought with a broken hand, broken leg, broken rib in a Muay Thai fight. Came out, victorious. And, after the fight, my coaches never even knew my leg was broken or my hand was broken. They're like, what was wrong? I was like, I broke my fucking hand in the first round. He goes, oh, all right. Well, good job. You did it good. Pat on the back. Go get surgery and get back to the gym and get back to work. So.
It's funny that he used that line about excuses during the stare down, because I just want to play this quick clip of him on my show a few weeks back and get your response to it. Is that all right?
Of course.
Here it is. Here's Henry Cejudo on the show just a few weeks ago.
But what I don't want, Ariel, is I don't want excuses. When I beat him, I don't want excuses that, my shirt, my beard, and people were pulling me over here, pulling me over there. No, you're fighting an undefeated fighter. He's an elite fighter. And showcase. Come on, man. Like this is a fight. This isn't. You're not fighting Benavidez. You're not fighting. You're not fighting Harry Gucci. You're fighting Henry Cejudo, a really strong-willed human being that can put things together and that will shine when the brightest light.
What do you think of that?
My favorite thing is how he talks in third person. He's like, "You're fighting Henry Cejudo," and I put things together. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, "That's fine. I'll see you April 23rd. Sounds good."
Why is he so worried that you're going to come up with an excuse?
I have no fucking idea. I have no idea. You should be asking that, not me, damn it.
All right, fair enough. I will ask him that the next time, because he seems to be really talking about that particular thing. Do you recall watching him in the Olympics? Like, are you a fan of amateur wrestling? Do you recall when he won the gold medal?
I do not. I 110%. I've never watched. And a lot of USA wrestling people might be pissed at me, but I've never have. I grew up in a house full with a mother and a brother and a sister, and I was the only person who did wrestling. So after I was done with wrestling in high school, after I lost state, I was like, okay, well, you know what? It's not like, there was a professional wrestler. I'd go making money. So after my high school career, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to go work full time and, skip out on track this season and just start working out. And so hearing about the Olympics, I never knew you could, didn't know there was Olympic wrestling until I got older. And then, I honestly can tell you the first time I ever heard about USA Olympic wrestling. But yeah, so I didn't know he won it. And then the very first time I heard about Henry Cejudo was when he was fighting in Legacy Fighting Championship. And the headlines that, this man misses weight again. And then when I clicked on the page on MMA Junkie, I was like, I read the thing and I was like, oh, gold medalist misses weight again and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's interesting, whatever. And then move on to the next news. And then, fast forward, here we are.
Are you concerned at all that he won't make weight? It doesn't really affect. No. You think he will?
He'll make weight. He'll make weight. I mean, nowadays, people pay people to make sure they make weight. So I think for me, I've never been the type of person to go out and hire a dietitian. I always read books, or I always ask doctors, and I pick people's brains. That way, at the end of the day, I can do it on my own. When I am comfortable and I can do it on my own, and I have the mind power and the will to be like, all right, tonight we're gonna have whole white chicken breast with asparagus with some type of carbohydrate, and I guess I'll have soup chili yam. Sweet, sounds good. I eat it, wake up, feel good, go out and fight. So he'll make weight.
If you knew about Olympic wrestling back then and applied yourself, do you think you could have made a run and medaled at the Olympics? Do you think about that sort of thing?
I don't think about it, but absolutely, I believe I can do that. I would like to think I can. I believe in my skills and skill set, and with the right coaching and with the right mindset, and where I'm just focused 110% on one thing, then absolutely. You think about it. I was working full-time at a job carrying, construction tubes around, set them up. all the way up to the championship at 135, beating the best fighters in the world at that time. So now, here I am, doing my thing, beating everybody up at 125, and life is good. So I believe I could have.
You're always peppered with these questions about your opponents, and you're sort of, you're stone cold. You never give us an opening. But when you find out that you're fighting an undefeated guy who is, one of 3 gold medalists in UFC history, do you perk up a little bit? Do you have an extra pep in your step? Does this one feel a little different because of who he is?
Henry Cejudo could be 8-8, and I'll still have the same fire underneath my ass as if he was undefeated. So for me, it's just another opponent, training my ass up like it's just another fight, and that's how it's going to be even in the next fight. You know, like I said, I'm never attached to the outcome of my fights. I'm never attached to the outcome of who my opponent's going to be. I asked UFC, what is my date? And I said, all right, I'll make sure I'm the best Demetrious Johnson on April 23rd, and that's what I plan on doing.
7 straight title defenses, right? Anderson has the record 10. How important is that to you to break that record?
It's important. It's a goal. It's a goal for me, and I think that, me having that goal super high or high on my priority list is something I'm shooting for. And I just think it'd be fucking dope. It was like, oh, Demetrious Johnson, UFC flyweight champion with 15 consecutive title defenses, never got injured, beat all his opponents. And I think that's something dope to look back on where whoever purchased the company after Dana Lorenzo were done, they look at it and see my name like, oh, shit, they had 15 title defenses. Let's look up why was he so successful? What was he so good at? What made him different than all the other champions? Each time he fought, he kept on evolving. He kept on, He fought a 2-time world Sambo champion. Couldn't take the man down. What did he do? End up out-punching him and out-striking him. That's what I want my legacy to be. To where if I get in there with an opponent who is superior in one aspect of mixed martial arts, I'm like, my friend, let me tell you something. This is mixed martial arts. I can take this in many different areas. And that's why I credit, Matt Hume and Brad Kurtzen for making me have such a long amateur career in mixed martial arts, whether it was me doing kickboxing, boxing, MMA, grappling tournaments, shoot boxing, just doing different types of things to where nowadays everybody's such in a fucking rush to get to the picture. It's like, dude, take your time. You're 18. You're 18 years old. Go do a couple boxing fights. Go do jiu-jitsu tournaments. Go do a Muay Thai fight. That way, if you get in there with a certain person who specializes in one aspect, then you still have that nowadays where you can go to a guy and be like, hey, what is your background? I specialize in Muay Thai. I am a stand-up fighter. So where it's like, so that makes me feel like you never did any grappling tournaments or any wrestling tournaments. Okay, so I know what your weakness is. So that's why that's a little rant on mine.
I like it. I like that rant. I know I can go on the record and predict this, and I know it's going to be true. You will be more appreciated when you're done fighting than you are now. You're one of those guys. I can't compare you. No one's coming to mind right now. But that's true, right? I mean, when this run is over, when you retire, when you're done doing something else, whatever that may be, people are going to look back on your run and your career way more fondly than they do now. You know that, right?
I hope so. And I think you might be right. I think now everybody's all caught up with, they want the bad blood and the great soundbite, and they're looking for that. And I think for me, when I'm done fighting, I think people will truly appreciate how I'm able to mix it up, be fluid in my transitions, and look back how I carried myself as a champion to where I'm a humble guy, even in victory and defeat. When people beat me up or when I get beat up, I always be dominant through shit. I was like, I'm so pissed at you, John, for suplex me 3 times in a row. But I still love you. You got great footwork. Or even when I beat John Dodson the second time and he was talking all this stuff saying I can't hit hard, I was like, dude, even though you talk shit, congrats for being a father. I wish you the best in life. I wish you the best in your career. After I armbarred John Moraga, I was like, dude, it's not the end of the road for you. You'll be back. It's all about taking care of your family and paying bills. So congrats that you're fighting me and wishing the best of the career. And that's how it's going to be after me Henry Cejudo fight.
Do you even look at the bottom of the division, the rising stars, the prospects? Like, are there certain guys that you're like, you know what, I have a feeling in a year or so he may be closer to my radar. He may be someone I'll have to prepare for. Do you look at that?
I don't look at it as they're going to be on my radar or I have to prepare for them because I'm preparing for – when I prepare for my fights, I'm preparing to beat Matt Hume. I'm trying to compete with Matt Hume. That is my end-game goal, is to be able to tap out Matt Hume and give him fit and work him on the feet. That is my end-game goal. So I believe Matt Hume is the best fighter in the world. So when I am training for my fights and I'm fighting him, there's nobody in the octagon who's going to be able to put it together like Matt Hume can. So, but I do look at the guys at the very below the division who are coming up and say they're going to have great careers if they stay on this path.
Is there anyone in particular that you're super interested in, that you've been watching, that you think is going to be a player?
I think all of them. I honestly think all of them. I can't sit here and handpick one because, I can say, oh, well, this person is going to be good. But, injuries play a factor in being having a successful career. You look at Khabib Nurmagomedov. I mean, he's an amazing athlete, amazing fighter. He's undefeated. But the thing that's keeping him out of, the octagon is his injury. So that plays a factor in people's career. And I can't just say, oh, this guy's going to be great. Like, wife he gets a woman pregnant. They have 5 kids. I don't know. Shit. Anything can happen.
That's another thing that I feel like is overlooked. You might be the most reliable champion in UFC history, right? Have you ever pulled out of a fight?
I pulled out of one fight because I needed surgery. And once I pulled out, I got surgery, and I pulled out of my fight against John Moraga in March, and then I got surgery once I pulled out on my labrum, and then I fought him in July. So I was like, hey, I go get a Band-Aid on my arm, then go get surgery. Once I got out of surgery, I was in physical therapy and training for the fight. Then we ended up fighting in July. So that's the only time I ever pulled out of a fight.
Was that announced yet when you pulled out? I don't remember. Or was it being just...
Yeah, it was announced.
It was?
It was announced because we were going to fight on the Ultimate Fighter, the main event, I believe. But then I was training, and Matt was like, do this. And I was like, Matt, I can't fucking do it. And he goes, why? And I was like, it hurts. And he goes, you need to get an MRI. And then I got an MRI, and he goes, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, I don't want you to think I was a bitch. And he goes, dude, that's the last thing I think you're going to be. When you're hurting, you need to tell me that. That way we can work around training. And sure enough, my labrum was so blown, he was like, you need to get surgery. And then I tried to fight it, but Matt was like, get surgery. I mean, you can be a tough guy and try to go out there and fight, but what if you lose and your arm blows out, whatever. Get surgery. You can have this fight. The fight's not going anywhere. You're still young. Just go get surgery. So I did.
Do you pay attention to, what Conor is making these days and Nate and some of these other guys? And are you...
Goddamn right I do.
Are you...
Hell yeah, man. First man, shout out to Conor McGregor for making 7 figures on first fight ever to make 7 figures in the UFC payout. But yes, I do pay attention to that.
And are you close there? Do you feel like you should be closer? How do you feel about what you're getting?
I honestly do believe I should be closer. Mm-hmm. Just for the skill set I bring in the octagon. And obviously everybody can look back at UFC 191 and see what my disclosed play is. And that's another one of my goals is to inch my way closer to those big paydays, and shout out to Nate Diaz and both those guys for setting the pedestal for us fighters to get paid more. I mean, we go out there and we work our asses off. In the UFC, they work their asses off too with promoting the fight and try to sell tickets. And I think it's great those guys getting paid more, but absolutely I would love to see Demetrious Johnson, Demetrious Johnson, UFC 197 payout, $500K payout, baby.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, amen to that. How many fights left on your contract?
I have to look. I think we're getting close. I think I got 3 left. Are you
looking forward to that? Are you gonna, do what a lot of fighters are doing now and try to test the waters, or at least try to, not sign before you're done, as was the the norm back in the day before the contract was up?
To be honest with you, I always let Matt Hume deal with that.
Okay.
Matt Hume, we sit down and when we talk about it, and Matt Hume wants the best for me, for my family, for my children. And I'm sure, the biggest thing right now is going out there and fight. At the end of the day, when I was first fighting in the UFC, Matt was like, dude, just go out there and fight and win. If you just win, everything else will take care of itself. Now I've been winning, for a long damn time. And I'm hoping now that everything will start to take care of itself. But when we get closer to, that part in my career, then me and Matt Hume will sit down and talk about it, then we will go from there.
All right. Well, for now, we appreciate your time. It is, I love this fight. This is going to be fun. April 23rd, Las Vegas, UFC 197. What a great main and co-main event, a true co-main event. Demetrious Johnson versus Henry Cejudo for the flyweight title, and of course, Jon Jones versus Daniel Cormier for the light heavyweight title. What a 1-2 punch that is. Always a pleasure. It has been too long, my friend. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. I know you're going to train now, so I appreciate some time here on a Monday.
Absolutely, anytime. You got my number, dog. Just hit me up.
You're my man. There he is, Demetrious Johnson. We appreciate him very much, the flyweight champion of the UFC. Big fight for him coming up in less than a month, and interesting comments there regarding his pay, and certainly one of the more underappreciated fighters in UFC history. I think that's a very, very valid point, and a point that could be argued easily, at least in my opinion.